So we have one of our sisters by the name of Amy Malone. Now she is out there in San Bernardino, California. Now she went up to, the city council meeting, and she was against the hiring of a particular city manager that had a bad record. And in the midst of, her doing this, which is her rights to do so, they had some white supremacists on the line that, just being the ignorant white supremacists that they are, let's go ahead and roll that.
And obviously, when you look at his track record, you would not hire him.
San Bernardino resident Amy Malone explaining to city council members last Wednesday why she is against the hiring of Charles Montoya for city manager.
This gentleman had been fired from his last 3 positions as city manager, and it just did not make sense to me. Even have this conversation.
But moments after Malone began to speak, she was interrupted by 2 other speakers who were waiting via Zoom for their turn to talk.
Own personal business.
And what was said was nothing less than racist, hateful, and deplorable.
Go back to Africa, you don't like it. Where's that from?
Wow. I'm a black woman, so racism is not something that's shocking.
But Malone says what was shocking to her was how city leaders responded in the seconds after the racist slurs were said.
And I was hoping that the people that were in charge were going to take control and really stop everything for a moment, shut it down, and allow me to get myself together and everyone else there. But that's not what happened.
At one point, Malone demanded an apology from city leaders, which she did get from Mayor Pro Tem Fred Shorett.
While you're telling me to wait, you should be appalled at what just happened.
I'm sorry, that should not have happened, and I don't know how it did.
It was just stunning. It's just as far as whoa, did that happen? Did that really happen?
Mayor Helen Tran told us she was watching the council meeting online because she was in Washington, D.C. on city business. The mayor says she is addressing the Zoom public comment option so speakers can't unmute themselves and spew racist words. She also has a message for Malone.
And I, as the mayor, Amy, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. You and others having to hear that in that room.
Meantime, San Bernardino police have the IP addresses of the men accused of making the racist remarks, and they say the case is under investigation.
Now, of course, these remedial white supremacists is spewing anti-black slurs at our sister, but also the going back to Africa thing. They are so ignorant about that, because Africa is a continent. It's not a country. That's first and foremost. But we know how ignorant they are, and we know about the public school system in America that keep people extremely ignorant. They make sure to keep people ignorant in the system. But if she has to go to so-called Africa, well, then they're gonna have to go back to so-called Europe, because they don't belong here either. If we know the history of this country, they came over here. All of them came over here. So why aren't they interested in going back to Europe? That's the question. They so-called have a hatred of black people. They don't like, Hispanics. They don't like Asians. They don't like Arabs. They don't like nobody, right? Well, you would think, because, you're thinking logically, well, I don't like these group of people in America. This is this melting pot. So maybe because I'm a white supremacist and I want to be in the ethno state, maybe I should go back to, Europe, because that's the homeland, right? And I need to go to Eastern Europe, because Eastern Europe is way more homogenous than Western Europe. Western Europe has a little bit more diversity. Eastern Europe don't, right? So you would think they would go to Eastern Europe and just be happy and thrive there. That would be more the logical thing. Like I said, if I was a white supremacist, that's what I would do, is go to Eastern Europe, or at minimum move to a state where they have a population of 90+% of my people, right? Like states like Maine, Vermont, hardly any black people in the state, right? That's what I would do if I was a white supremacist. But no, they want to still be in cities where there's a melting pot. As you saw, the mayor, I think she's Vietnamese, and last name Tran, so Vietnamese, so why? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. So now you take a risk of losing your job because they got your IP address. They're going to eventually put your name out there, right? All that risk just to go out and spew some anti-black racism. I never understand it. I'm not gonna let nothing screw my bag up, my reputation, definitely my freedom. Forget that. Because you telling her that, what did that accomplish? She still was there talking at the end of the day. Let me know what y'all think about, this. Like I say, these people are so remedial, man. They are so remedial.